Hey guys, and welcome back to Brexit. Brexit England, Northern Ireland, and Eastern Europe. And in Brexit England, Rishi Sunak has been freaking his fist, banging his fist on the desk, right, opening and slamming drawers, right, breaking pencils, right, and throwing a mug against the wall, right. And he's been telling, right, the food retailers, you, right, need to cap your prices. Am I making myself clear? But it's voluntary though. But you need to cap your prices, but it's voluntary. Cap your prices, voluntary. Cap your prices, it's voluntary. And the food retailers have the absolute cheek to come back and say, this man's an idiot. I don't know why they said it in a Caribbean accent. I have no clue why they said it like that. But they've just said this is an idiotic thing to say. It's stupid, right? They're trying to take us back to the 1970s. Like Jeremy Corbyn would have. That's what they're trying to do in this country. In fact, they've gone back further than that anyway. But that's what the food companies are saying, the retailers. That's what they're trying to do. Take us back to the 1970s, right? With their left-wing policies, right? And that's what the problem is in this country, right? You've got far too much people, right, bringing in these left-wing policies. And last time we had food caps was brought in by, I think, Edward Heath. And if I can remember correctly, he's a Tory. This is the thing with these people. They're some absolute jokers. We've got people, right, who just say, you know something? I'm going to gaslight these motherfuckers with a Bunsen burner. Because, they're just like, you know what? What we're going to do is we're going to, we'll use a gas cooker. We'll put the ring on the hottest and then sit the motherfuckers right on that. Because these people are the biggest gaslighters in the world. Nobody, there's nobody, right, who could be more false than these people. Nobody, right? The way how they they just openly take the piss. Openly take the piss, right? Because, Rishi Sunak, obviously, right, one of our modern British politicians. So obviously, he would have to get things spectacularly wrong, obviously, because, none of them are attacking this from the right angle. How the hell are you going to go and tell the retailers, remember that these are retailers. Their only job is to make money. Right? That's their job, to make money. And he's going to tell them they need to cap their prices. Well, they've come back and said, you know what, you're an idiot. And furthermore, right, that will lead to a lack of food on our shelves. It's one of those policies, that hasn't been thought through at all. It's one of those policies that, that probably just sounded good within their minds when they was coming up with it. Because, Rishi Sunak, he's completely out of touch. Because, it could have something to do with him, like, 600 and something million or 500 and something million, whatever it is, it's over $500 million, right? But it could have something to do with that and him not living in the real world while paying for a massive swimming pool in his back garden while his local swimming pool has had to close down because they haven't got enough money. So so this is the thing with these people. They're so far out of touch that that you could have one of them who thinks to himself, well, you know something, I can warm up my stables, right, on the taxpayer's expense. I can warm my stables up on there, right? As if to say, someone who's living in Barking, have they got stables living in Barking or in Chelmsford? Do you know what I mean? Or in Brixton or any of these places you can name them. These people, none of these people have got stables, but they're paying people who have got stables, right, and charging it at our expense. Those are the people who people think it's okay to vote these people in. So this is the reason why you can have Rishi Sunak coming up with something so stupid, right? Where you just think to yourself, can we see any more stupid out of these politicians? And then they just say to you, you know what? Hold this patty. It's not a Jamaican patty. It's a patty. They say, hold this patty and hold this lager while I make a complete klutz and an idiot of myself again. And that's what Rishi Sunak has done. It's not as if to say these people really care about the people of this country, because if they did care about the people of this country, then they would have respect for the people of this country. It's, I think that they're just like, you know what? I would like to be wearing Frankenstein type boots. Steel toe. Give you a good kick right up the crack of the ass. And welcome back to By Any Means Necessary. Thank you so much for all your messages sent me. And a special thanks to everybody who signed up to my channel. I feel so blessed with so much people that have signed up. So thank you so much for that. I'll go for all your messages. I'll answer as many as I can. But I will like all your messages for definite. And we've had overnight, we've had Erdogan in Turkey has been re-elected. Right? You know, sometimes I just wonder sometimes, why is it that people seem to always be electing people who are perceived to be the wrong people? Some of these hardliners, people who are perceived to be like dictators. But then, I don't know that much about Turkish politics, but I do know that Erdogan, yeah, he's going to be his third decade in power. So, I don't know. I do know, the little I know about, you know, I do know that a lot of times, like, you know, people can be locked up for saying things that he doesn't like. So, you know, which obviously I would find a real problem because, you know, over here we're allowed to say things about our politicians that they really don't like, and there's nothing they can do about it. But he seems to be able to lock. So, you know, just on that alone, you know, I would say that sounds very dictatorial, just on that alone, you know. But you know, this is like the I said to say his third decade. I think he's been in power like 25 years. I think it's been 25 years now, right? So, which is, you know, one hell of a long time to lead a country. I mean, especially if you're not if it's not a country like, you know, North Korea or something like that, where people are just born, where someone is just literally born to rule, or maybe even over here where someone is born to rule. You know, so I don't know. People always seem to be, you know, it always seems to be the wrong people that are voted into power. People that are going to do stuff to hurt. You know, I mean, you know, we even get it. I mean, we literally get it over here as well, isn't it? You know, so it just seems to be that's how it seems to be. It just seems to be that people just always seem to be electing the wrong people, no matter where you go. I mean, whatever country you go into. Republicans are openly saying that they're going to be hunting the LGBTQ community. They're just going to be hunting them. That's the words that they're using, because, you know, and you've got so many people who are, you know, Republicans and conservatives who are not coming out against all of this violent rhetoric that comes from that comes from these people. You know, it's just so many. I mean, speaking of crazy Americans, I mean, you've got Stuart Elmer Rhodes. He is the leader of the Oath Keepers, one of those far-right fascist groups. And he's just been given 18 years in prison for his involvement in January the 6th. And you know, the strange thing is, right, you know, he didn't actually go into the Capitol. He was outside barking out orders, just like a general normally does. But that's what he was doing. He was outside, you know, barking out his orders, right? But the brigadier, right, was on stage telling people to go and fight like hell. Now, this guy's been sat in, you know, he's been sat in like a federal facility for the longest of time. And Donald Trump is still in Mar-a-Lago, a luxury resort that he owns. You know, the leader of the Proud Boys, I believe he's been found guilty of, I think, a seditious conspiracy as well, right? And he's also in prison. You know, so him again. He wasn't even allowed in Washington when January the 6th was kicking off. He wasn't even allowed in Washington, let alone going into the Capitol. He wasn't allowed in Washington, right? But he again, I don't know what he got. I don't even know if he's been sentenced yet. But him again, he's going to get a whole heap of time in prison, and Donald Trump is still sat in Mar-a-Lago. We'll say, well, how the hell does that work, right? When the man can go out and tell people to fight like hell. I'm sure if Barack Obama said to a load of, you know, Black Lives Matter, listen, go out there and fight like hell. But you see, these people, they're so, you see, they've got things so twisted that you've got Republicans that are in support of people like Stuart Rhodes, right? An insurrectionist. You got people, people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, Donald Trump, because they're using like, oh, well, what about Antifa and Black Lives Matter? So, seriously, you're actually right going to say, come out with that type of whataboutery? What about these people? What about? And the majority of the time, yeah, where you've got like a Black Lives Matter protest or whatever, majority of the time, yeah, when trouble kicks off, it's people reacting to the way to things what the police are doing. So if people start lobbing bottles and bricks and chairs and everything at the police, yeah, it's because the police officers have been attacking them. Because what you'll find is you'll have far right agitators who mix themselves into a Black Lives Matter protest, right, and then start smashing windows and things like that. That's what they do. This is what these guys do a lot of times, right? Because a Black Lives Matter protest, they're peaceful. Not Antifa's not. Antifa's something completely different. Yeah. So on a general basis, yeah, a Black Lives Matter will be peaceful. They'll all be peaceful, but so you get the false flags in there, because remember, yeah, a Black Lives Matter protest, yeah, will have like 40% black people there. Right, and then you've probably you'll probably have maybe 30% like white people there. Do you know what I mean? And then the other percentage were made up of other ethnic minorities, right? But that's how so that's why they can get themselves in, because it's not like me going and getting myself into like a MAGA crowd and going and smashing windows, because they look at me and think, hold on a minute, you're Antifa and Black Lives Matter, you aren't you? Right, it's not like you can do that as a black person. You can't get into like you can't get into like when the far right are having one of their, you can't get into those crowds and start doing that. We can't do that to them, but they can do that to us all the time, and they do, and that's been going on for years and years and years. And people like Donald Trump and all those type of people have been using all of that bullshit. So that America, what's going on in America? It's got some really really bad politics, some really terrible politics. You know what I mean? And like, the people what they're putting up to be president, right, shouldn't be president of like, a local neighborhood watch group. And we'll move back over to the UK, because the UK is going to be offering teachers to come from Africa and the Caribbean £10,000. Oh dear, because you see, we've got a massive brain drain in this country where so much of our teachers are leaving because you know what? You're asking them to work in dotty buildings, right? You're asking them to work much more hours than they're employed to. Same with the NHS, by the way. And all so that's the reason why a lot of our teachers are leaving, right? And now the government's like, oh, and remember also Brexit, right? But a lot of our teachers, because they're just like, no, you know what, we can't be bothered, we can't be dealing with this no longer, and we're off. So a lot of them are going to sunnier climes, and places where they can get like a much better deal as being a teacher. So now Britain is having to reach out, right, to places where because once upon a time Britain might have been able to reach out to like Australia, New Zealand, Canada, America, and all that stuff. Well, basically, the Five Eyes, right? The Five Eyes, right? Britain, Canada, America, New Zealand, Australia. Five Eyes, right? And if you notice, at least 4 of them countries are stolen, right? Where they went and genocided the people off. At least 4 of those countries. And can you tell me the only one that's not? Britain. Right? Because when you look at all those countries, yeah, most of those people they're British and Europeans in all those countries, right? So that's where Britain could have once upon a time, get people from. But nowadays, yeah, those people are like, I'm not going there, because over here this is a non-progressive country, right? And unfortunately, it's not going anywhere. Right? The only place it's going is backwards. And it's not in a good way. It's backwards in a really bad way. It's not backwards like when you meet, like, you know, your childhood sweetheart and you get married. Not backwards like that. Backwards in the way that you think to yourself, well, I wish I never went out on this night because I wouldn't be sat here doing a full life sentence. Backwards. And so £10,000 they've got to offer to teachers to come to the UK, a country that is so good to live in, apparently. But that's what they've got to do. You know, in the same way they're having to bribe businesses to stay in this country, and then they're on social media and they're on the telly boasting about, oh yeah, look at this deal that we've got, like, with, you know, Tata coming to this country. And say, how much are you paying them to come in? I guarantee that's what's happening. I guarantee but it'll probably come out later that they're paying them X amount of billions of pounds to get their ass over here. The police will no longer, the police are gonna cut down on demand of mental health calls they go out to. So they want to cut down on that, and because they want to make sure that they use their resources up where their resources are really needed, rather than going out and dealing with people who are mentally ill. But you see, this is down to people voting against their very own interest. And I'm going to explain this because the way how people vote in this country, they vote to hurt their neighbour, right? If they could, right? Because most people in this country, they the way how they feel about their local neighbours and their local neighbourhood, and this I'm talking about like your less well off, right? Your working classes, yeah, and your lower middle classes. These are the people, because these are the people who keep the Tories in power. So, and their whole thing is, you know what? I hate thy neighbour, can't stand them. I'd like to take my car and drive over them with my car. I'd drive right over them, right? I'd like to get them, yeah, and plunge a knife into their chest, right? I would like to give them a good kick in the genitals, right, with stilettos on or winkle pickers. That's how we've got to this situation in this country, where the police are saying, you know what, we're dealing with mental health issues too much. Because the reason why they're dealing with mental health issues too much is because people have voted against their own interest in this country, and they've been doing it for far too long. You're voting for people who have cut all the services, youth services cut, right? Social services cut, mental health services cut, right? And people are wondering, why is the police are saying, well, you know what, this is too much for us now. Because what they do is, in this country, they say, oh, you got bipolar? Take this bottle of pills and fuck off to your house. That's what they're doing, right? When a lot of these people, right, they need much more care than that. But, we've voted in people who say, oh, no. We don't want to pay for other people. Fuck other people. Why should we want to pay for other people? Bollocks for other people. What has that got to do with us? Right? All our youth services cut. Right, yeah. So now you've got so many kids who should be, in youth clubs or doing other types of youth services and that. Right, no, their services have been cut. So now they're just on the street. Social services cut. Right, so when you get to a certain age, there's like, oh, well, if you need someone to look after you in your elderly care, then we'll tell you what to do. Right, sell your fucking house, because they've cut all the social services. That's the reason why. Right? And then people will argue, oh, well, the police don't want to go. Of course the police can't go. Police can't go to everything. Of course they can't. Right? It's not their fault, right? It's not their fault. They just say to someone, look, go to your house, take these fucking fools, you crazy motherfucking local idiot. Now get out of my fucking surgery. Right? So now all these things have been put on the police. But who the hell, right, is going to go out there and deal with someone who's mentally ill and violent? Who's going to deal with that person? Because only the police can deal with that person. Unless you want to get members of the public to go and deal with them with a couple of big sticks. But it's only the police that can go and deal with those people. So, so all of this, right? People are getting at the police because obviously, if you've got people, some people, might be mentally ill and they're not violent, right? So their family members, right, will have doctors and hospitals that they can phone and say, listen, the person's going a bit off, so could you please send someone out? And they might come out and get that person sectioned, right? But if you're talking about people who are mentally ill and violent, right, who will go out on roads and start stabbing up and murdering people, right? Or take hammers and big sticks and whatever. You talk about people like that, then they can only be dealt with by the police. But all of those people before would have been, all those people before, they're it would have been, there would have been people there to make sure that they're taking their medication and things like this. Because, most people who have got bipolar, right, most of them think that, a lot of them think to themselves, well, I'm not really crazy, so I can stop taking these pills. Some of them, right, will not be violent. Some of them will be extra violent, and others will be Kanye West. So, it's just like, all of this is people voting against their own interest. And that's the reason why that's happening. And this video, is a bit longer today, because today is May Day. So that's the reason why this video is a bit longer. And now we've got trans females will no longer be able to take part in British cycling against women. And, the trans issue is not really something I really, because I just think to myself, you know what? It's not really my issue. I mean, there's such a small amount, such a small amount of people that you're dealing with. You're dealing with less than 1%. Less than 1%. Do you know what I mean? And it's getting all of this major attention. Yeah, I agree that obviously that, we have a problem with with trans females and women's spaces, because, if women, right, who do not carry a penis, right, don't want people in there who are carrying a penis in their changing spaces, then those people should not be in their changing spaces. If women say, oh no, that's okay for men to be, for men to be in our changing spaces. I'm not calling trans women men. I'm just saying, if women are okay with men being in their changing spaces, then it's okay. But if women say, no, we don't want anybody, right, who has something that's dangling between their legs in our changing spaces, then that's fine. In the same way that it's unfair for women in sports, right, to be up against trans women. It's unfair. It's not fair, because if it was, right, then you would have trans men, right, in male races, winning races, winning decathlons and winning boxing and everything. And in as males, we don't have that problem. We have no problem with trans men, right? In sports and things like that. We have absolutely no problem with that at all. Do you know what I mean? And whether or not men would have a problem with a trans man in their changing spaces, I don't really think they would, because I wouldn't. I would much more have a problem, right, with with knowing there's a gay man in my changing space, not a trans man, but a gay man, because I would much more have a problem with that. Because I wouldn't, because that's the reason. This is the reason why you don't have a lot of footballers come out as gay, because they know what it would be like in the changing room space, and they would not be allowed in the same changing rooms as the other blokes. They would not be allowed in there. It was just simple. It would be as simple as that. They would not be allowed in there. Do you know what I mean? Right. So that's the reason why you haven't got. That's the reason why. One of the reasons why, and obviously the crowd as well. But that's one of the reasons why you haven't got gay footballers. Oh God. Boris Johnson, and something, someone sent me a message the other day saying, oh, Boris Johnson, yawn. And I agreed, do you know what I mean? But you know what? Boris Johnson, he's got his new allegations, and Boris Johnson says that, the allegations of gathering at Chequers is a complete false flag. It's a witch hunt, right? And it's been led by a load of lefties, right? Probably Islington middle-class elite lefties. Those type of lefties it's been led by. And Boris Johnson has been accusing Rishi Sunak and Oliver Dowden. You know, you think that it's only the left, right, that eat themselves and, you know, turn their cannons on themselves and just start shooting at themselves, right? But the right wing can be just as savage to each other, right, as the left wing are to each other. And at least with the left, you know that it's the right wing of the left, right, that are the problem. Right, it's not the left that's the problem. It's the right wing of the left that's the problem, because they just say, "Oh no, we'll just turn our cannons on them. We'll just start shooting them, and we'll join with the Tories." So so he's accusing Oliver Dowden and Rishi Sunak, and Boris Johnson says that these new allegations are nonsense from start to finish, and and he said it's a politically motivated stitch up. Of course. And didn't you say all of that last time, right? And right now, right, you're still facing charges of lying to Parliament over it. And this man's just come out now and said, "Oh, this is a false flag, and it's politically motivated." Right, politically motivated stitch up. The people of this country, the people of this country, the people of this country. People in Boston are now saying they want closer ties to the EU, and that will be Boston, UK, Lincolnshire, I believe. And the reason why this is major news is because I think there was one of the highest percentage-wise votes for Brexit at 74.9%. Let's just say 75% of the people around there voted to leave the EU, and now they're saying, "No, something, we need closer ties." Of course you do, because your ass is broke now. The UK chemical industry is in problems. Because you see, when we're saying, "Oh, you don't know what you was voting for, you didn't know what you was voting for, you don't know what you're voting for." We're saying that, right? This is the thing. Britain was so integrated, right, into Europe with so many different things, right? I mean, we had our customs border in fucking France. Right. Our Dover was virtually in France. Remember, before all these boat people started to come over, because before we never had that before 2016, right? And the only reason why we've got that now is because we said to the French, "We are going to show you a good old British gesture, English gesture, British gesture, whichever one." That's the one we said to the French. So. Knowing how integrated, and remember, before David Cameron started touting all this bullshit about leaving the EU, right, about the Brexit votes, before he started touting I knew nothing about the EU, just little bits. Do you know what I mean? I knew that I knew my passport was better than a lot of people's around the world. I knew that much, and but I knew very little about the actual workings of the EU. I knew they had some fucking type of nonsense where they moved from Brussels to somewhere else every month or whatever. I don't know, something like that anyway. But yes, I knew nothing about it. And then obviously I started learning a lot more about the EU. By the time the vote was there, I just knew that, if this country votes out, it will be catastrophic for the people of this country. And that is what's happening. And that's why now, because of a failure to bring in post-Brexit regulations in the chemicals industry, right, now that industry is going to be another one that could well be lost in this country. Another one that could just and because it's not something that's in your face every day. So that's why they probably haven't had a chance to able to actually get round to doing anything about this. And now it might be one of those things where it might just be too late, because the EU, you know how the EU are, right? Believe me, right? They're going to take all the business off us they can, because that's what I would do. I would take every single bit of business off this country that I could if I was in the if I was in the EU. Everything, I would just take it, because say, well, you have no reason for this, right? You can set you would set your own kite marks and things like that. UK food suppliers may be asked to label their food not for EU consumption. Like we're dogs, or some type of furry animal. Because isn't that how animal food is labelled? Not for human consumption. So the EU's like, we don't want none of your dirty, stinking food to get into our chains. So you need to label that. Right? No, and so I mean that's going to be because that because they're scared of stuff going into Ireland, isn't it? Right, via Ireland, right? Which only a bunch of idiots, right, would put a border in their own country. Do you know what level of stupidity that would take to put a border in your own country? I mean, it takes the same type of stupidity, right, as, let me just think, voting to lose your own freedom of movement. So, if you're stupid on that level, right, then you'd be stupid enough to say, you know what, let's put a border down our own country. And then want to complain that people are saying, well, you need to label your food not for EU consumption, right? Because you people are animals and you can eat that nastiness, but in the EU, we don't want it. My friends, look, I'm like, this is 30 odd minutes. I mean, I didn't expect to go that long. I thought it was going to be like 20 minutes. But I don't know. Anyway, guys, look, I have to bow out of here. I say happy May Day to all of you. And I wish you a blessed rest of the day. My friends, this is By Any Means Necessary. I'm the MC John Ribbs. It was really nice to speak to you guys. Comments below.